Thank you to Smirk for sponsoring this episode. If you want to smile brighter with beautiful white teeth, but without the hassle of going to a clinic, then you should try Smirk's affordable dentist-approved teeth whitening products from the comfort of your home. I absolutely love it, and you will too. I'll leave their link in the description below. Thanks, Smirk. Hey baby girls, welcome back to another brow lamination tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to laminate over brows that have previously had microblading. I get asked this question a lot and today I'm going to show you. Helena already has beautiful shaped brows, but I just want to do a few things to tweak them to make them even more amazing. So as you can see, these hairs are growing downwards. So by laminating them, it's going to give them a better shape. I'm going to make the arches a little bit nicer. I'm going to try and fill in any sparse areas. I'm going to start off by cleaning the eyebrows. So this is HD Brows Squeaky Clean, and I'm just going to cleanse over the brow area, making sure they're free from makeup, oil and dirt. So even with the old microblading, we can still laminate the brows. We're just a little bit more limited to what we can do. So the brand that I'm going to be using today is Ellie Banner's Plex Pro Fusion System. I am totally obsessed with this lamination product. So step one is going to go on all over the brow hairs, making sure we apply this nice and thick, coating every single hair. We want to work quite fast as timing is key. If we take ages applying this, we're going to over process those brows. So get it on nice and fast and then we can cover with some film. So the film doesn't only hold in the heat, but it also helps hold those hairs into place. If you've got someone with coarse hairs, this will really keep them in place and stop them from flicking up in the air. So I reckon these brows will need around 6 minutes. After only a minute, I'm going to go in with my micro brush and we're going to brush these brows. So after you've already had the product on for around a minute, the brows are already going to start feeling a lot softer and they're already going to start feeling like you can brush them in a different direction. So the product's obviously started doing its thing and it just makes them even more movable. So I like doing this in step one just because it really does encourage those hairs to stay where I want them to stay. So once my 6 minutes is up, I can remove the film and remove the product. So instead of taking the product off with a cotton pad, I actually take this off with a little brush and I apply the excess of the product on the back of my glove. And what this does is, say for example, I take this off and I see a few hairs haven't quite laid, they're still stuck up in the air. It means I can go back in with that excess product that's on my glove and rework those hairs. It just saves you from opening up another sachet and spending more money. Once I'm happy those hairs are fully flat, I then wipe over with a damp cotton pad. And this is just to make sure that there's no product still remaining on those brows, which could be causing over-processing. Step 2, I'm actually going to apply this on the back of a dapping dish, and that is because I'm going to apply another product to it, which is Plex Regen, and I'm just going to apply a small pea-sized drop and I'm going to give that a good mix, and then that can go all over the brows. So what Plex Regen does is a little bit like an Olaplex. So it reconditions the hairs, it stops them from over processing, it makes them a little bit more glossy, a little bit more healthier. I really love this product and I add this every time I do my brow lamination. I think it keeps them in much better condition, especially if people are coming back every 6 to 8 weeks to have this treatment done. Once I've applied the product nice and thick all over the brows, I'm going to take my micro brush again and I'm going to brush these brows up in the air into the direction I would like them to sit. And this step is so satisfying to do because they honestly glide into whatever position you want them to sit in. Oh my god, it's like eyebrow I literally love brushing these hairs at this stage. If I feel like I have applied the product too high, I'm just going to use a cotton bud and just wipe away any of that that's on the skin. And then I'm going to cover back over with some film and set my timer for another 6 minutes. Once my 6 minutes is up, the film can come off and I'm going to remove step 2 in the same way that I removed step 1. Once I'm sure all the brows are perfect and laid exactly where I want them to lay, I use a damp cotton pad and I wipe away all the excess product. A lot of people say to me, why are you using a wet cotton pad? Is this not going to affect the brows? No, it's only damp and it just stops the product from developing. Otherwise, you are at risk at getting over processed brows. So the brows are now ready to be tinted. So I'm using HD Brows Tint in shade dark brown with my developer, and I give that a really good mix, make sure it's fully mixed, and then I'm going to apply this all over the brow hairs. So HD Brows Tint is very unique, so it only stains the hairs and not the skin. So I can actually apply this super messy and it's not going to give a crazy looking brow. It's literally by far the best tint I've ever used. You can only buy this tint if you have trained with HD Brows, so please don't ask me how to buy this product. I get asked this question 1,000 times and it is killing me. Also, this tint is rapid, it develops so quickly, so I'm going to leave it onto the skin for about a minute, and then I just take my little applicator and just make sure those hairs are the colour that I want before I remove it fully. I'm super happy with that colour, they look beautiful, soft and natural. So I can use a damp cotton pad again just to remove any excess tint. So the brows are now ready to be waxed, but before I wax any brows when laminating, I use a barrier on the skin to protect the skin because a lot of people tend to graze after lamination. So all I'm doing is applying a thin layer of oil all over the skin using a cotton pad. And then I'm going to go over that area with some powder. I like to use any form of pressed powder, and you can apply this using a little eyeshadow applicator or even a cotton pad. But I apply this over the top of the oil, and this just puts a double barrier in between the wax and Helena's skin so she doesn't come out with any grazes. I'm now just going to give myself a few little points to where I would like to wax. Sometimes I just free wax if I feel the shape is super easy to do. Helena's brows are a little bit more trickier with the microblading, so I just want to make sure these are perfect and make sure I can get them as symmetrical as possible. So I'm just putting a few points in place so I know where I would like to wax up to. Also, if you're new to brows, I strongly recommend you doing the points. This will help you loads, even drawing in the actual shape of the brow. It'll just stop you from making any mistakes and make you feel more confident in taking away hairs with wax. Once I'm happy with my mapping, I'm going to go in with my wax. The wax I'm using today is Star Pill Azaleen wax. I literally will not use any other wax for brows. I love it. And my applicator that I'm using to apply the wax is actually a lip wand. I find this applies the wax so nicely on eyebrows and it doesn't feel too scratchy on the skin. They really work really well for brow waxing. I always like to start in the middle of the brows when I'm waxing. Don't know why. There's actually no right or wrong way where you need to start and where you need to finish, just what feels comfortable for you. So following the guidelines that I created earlier, I'm just going to apply my wax nice and thin to this area first. The great thing about this wax is you can actually go over it as many times as you want. It doesn't set as soon as it touches the skin, so you can rework it until it's sat exactly where you would like it to sit. I prefer to work with small wax strips. I pre-cut these myself and I wax in smaller sections. I wouldn't do that whole section in one. Just find it's a little bit more precise. The wax doesn't all go everywhere when you push your finger down on the strip. I don't know, I just like doing it this way. I think it's more controlled. I can see just a few hairs that I just want to get with the tweezers before I move on to the upper section of the brow. So when waxing above the brows after lamination, I strongly recommend you pushing the hairs back down in the sideways direction, just because otherwise you will catch those hairs that you've just brushed up in the air, probably in your wax, and you'll probably pull them out. So you can see the top of this brow looks a little bit sparse in that arch area. So that's because I'm trying to bring the arch slightly over to the left. So when she had them microbladed, I think that they put her arch too soon. So I'm trying to create a new arch for Helena. So I'm doing this by manipulating those hairs into the direction I want them to go in and taking away the hairs that look sparse to make it look denser. So yeah, I've got a bit of work to do on this brow, but it'll all come together. And I've just decided I just want to take that little bit of tuft of hair in that arch away. It just looks a bit strange. I thought I could make it a bit thicker, but I want it off. I used a bit of barrier just to protect the skin before I waxed, and yeah, that looks so much better. And then I'm going to now do brow number 2. This brow was actually the better brow. Everyone always has a better brow. One side's better than the other. I don't know why, but it's just a thing. Everyone has one. So the brows are now all waxed and oh my god, they are looking amazing. So I'm just going to go over with a little bit of oil just to get rid of any wax residue that's sat on the skin. There's nothing worse than feeling sticky brows after a brow wax. In this area, I still feel like it's a little bit gappy and I could do with 1 or 2 more hairs, which I can't magically appear. So instead of waxing the tails thinner, I'm just going to show Helena what she can do with 2 strokes of pencil in this area to create that perfect brow. So I'm actually going to give Helena the mirror so she can see what I'm doing. So when she comes to drawing in her brows, she can see she only has to add a little bit of highlighter if she would like, and 1 or 2 strokes to the rest of the brow. It's literally that simple. This highlighter is by HD Brows and it's in the shade Pink Nude. I literally apply this just underneath the brows and kind of sculpt out the shape with this makeup. It just means you don't have to cake your brows with loads of makeup. It actually forms the shape for you by using literally a smidge of highlighter. And then I'm just going to go over that with a slightly softer, bigger brush, and that's just going to make it look a little bit more natural and not so defined. Helena doesn't wear much makeup, so I just wanted it to look as soft and subtle as possible. This is where I show Helena how 3 little brush strokes of makeup can create such a different looking brow. I'm using a pencil by HD Brows called the Pro Pencil, and this just creates hair-like strokes. It just mimics hair strokes and it looks super natural. I'm now just going to finish the brows using a little bit of brow glue. This again is by HD Brows. I'm going to use a clean spoolie so I'm not contaminating the bottle, and then I'm just going to apply this on the brows. I like using brow glue after lamination because if the client was to go home and lays down on a pillow, sometimes you can mess them up. So this just secures them into place and makes sure they won't be messing them up when they get home. So even though she's got her old microblading underneath, you can't even see it. They look amazing. Please just look how gorgeous they look on her. They still look super soft and natural. I've brought the arch over slightly to give her a little bit more of a shape. I know I've used a teeny bit of pencil in some areas, but hardly any at all. But yeah, I mean, look how much more groomed they look than what she came in with. I'm so happy with how these have turned out, and so is Helena. The aftercare I like to give my clients after lamination is a little pot of coconut oil that I get them to apply daily. Just keeps the brows in really good condition and keeps them nice and healthy for the next appointment. Thank you so much for watching this brow lamination tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!